and welcome to episode 66 of PauseCast. It is December 7th, 2017. I am Jessica Alouette, and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Mark Hanna, I use he, him. Welcome.
Hey, Mark.
Hey. I can't believe it's December.
Yeah, how the fuck?
It's not fair. I heard a Christmas song today.
What?
I just can't stop it from happening, can I?
No, it's the progression of the season. We're all fucked. It's like, we can't escape Christmas. It's coming for us. Run.
Yeah, and I'll think I've got plenty of time to do stuff for it, and then it'll happen, and I'll be like, what? I didn't do this stuff.
I mean, luckily you have, we got breaks and stuff to, come up, so.
Yeah. Everyone's been I've seen people online talking about a heat wave, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's finally not cold.
Yeah, I don't know. California's having some pretty wild fires.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, shout out to California friends. Keep yourself safe. Don't inhale smoke. Get yourself a mask if you can. And follow your local evacuation orders. Shit seems bad. Shall we talk about video games?
Yeah, that seems like it's a happier topic.
Yeah, we can talk about video games. I mean, I could talk about, a video game which is decidedly not happy, which is The Evil Within.
That doesn't sound happy.
It's not at all a happy game, I would say.
It's no Stardew Valley?
It's no Stardew Valley, which is a very charming game. It's spooky, still. There's, a lot of stuff in that game I feel is kind of really underappreciated so far. I can say that I'm in the mid-game, and so, I know that things are supposed to fall apart around this point, but,
Wait, fall apart how? As in,
narratively?
As in, the narrative just, it's not as good after the midpoint sort of thing, or?
So, one thing that The Evil Within is kind of criticized for is it's gotten this title of horror spaghetti. And the reason it has this title is because a lot of people felt that, the narrative of The Evil Within was taking a lot of, horror things and throwing them at the wall like spaghetti to see what sticks.
Okay.
Like the adage, throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. So it's very much just that, in a lot of people's minds. I feel like it does some really, really interesting stuff. I've talked about how it kind of, actively tries to sabotage the player's perspective on reality and what is real and what is not at any given moment. Yeah, that game is decidedly not happy. It just gets spookier. I fought one of the bosses last night. I had some cool theories about the boss. There's a lot of interesting religious symbolism that is happening in this particular act that I'm in, and some of the theories I had were kind of circling around one of the bosses called the Keeper, which I fought last night. It's got a big safe for a head.
Oh, you were telling me about that one, yeah.
Yeah. The Keeper, I know that the main antagonist has a sibling, and I figured it may be possible that there was a parallel between that antagonist and the sibling and Cain and Abel, specifically in the quote, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Which would be kind of an interesting take on that boss.
I forget which one's which. One of them's killed the other and then is asked where they are and says, basically, I don't know, I'm not in charge of them, but they just actually killed them and hid them in a field or something. Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. That sounds like it would fit a horror game.
Yeah, no, that's kind of why I was thinking that as well. But also just, the religious symbolism and stuff being used, yeah.
What's in the safe? Do you know? Did
Pardon?
you beat the boss and open their head?
Yeah. It's a lot of blood and guts. It's all bad.
Cool.
Yeah. The safe is all bad, as it turns out. Don't open the safe. The section of the game I'm in has another non-keeper attached safe, and I have to find the dials for that. I can only imagine what's in that at this point.
Ugh.
Probably not good. Video game. I've also played Yakuza 0 a little bit.
Yeah?
Just before.
That's the prequel to that franchise that you were telling me about the other week, right?
Yeah, so Yakuza is a Japanese crime drama series of games.
It takes itself very seriously all the time.
No. Fortunately, it doesn't take itself very seriously all the time. I've talked to Ash about this, and apparently it's kind of a running thing in the series, but like in the opening hour or two of that game, there will always be a karaoke minigame, and you will have to play it. Sure enough, I ran into the karaoke minigame.
Did you win?
I did win. I got Karaoke Pro as my rating. I did all right.
Is it like a Rockstar minigame kind of thing where you have to press buttons in time with a sequence or something?
Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay.
It's not that bad. And then I guess Forza Horizon 3 is my other kind of big thing.
Nice.
Yeah, that game's so good. I don't think I have too much new to say about that.
Okay.
It's just a good game. How about you? What have you been playing this week?
So, I've only really played one game this week. I was talking to my flatmate pretty soon after the last show, and he has been playing possibly my favorite game ever, Chrono Trigger. He's been playing it on his phone while he buses to and from work using DS emulator, so he's playing the DS version, which I'm planning on replaying over summer, I think, on my DS.
Yeah.
But he finished it. And so we were talking about how he finished it and how it's got multiple endings and he could go back and how did he beat it. And he was way higher level than I ever was when I beat that game. Like, he reached max level, which I've never done, even on New Game Plus stuff when I was trying to get second endings. I don't know if that's because the DS version is different in that respect somehow or not. I know it's got some new in-game content. But then I got to thinking of, okay, what other games do you need to play from the similar era that you could also play on your phone? And he mentioned to me that you can emulate Super Nintendo games on your phone, which, I mean, of course you can. I originally played Chrono Trigger on a Super Nintendo emulator called SNES 9X, and it turns out that now has phone versions, so I installed it on my phone. And I've been playing one of the games I played. I don't even know when I played this, if I was a kid or a teenager or what. It's, and I hope I'm going to pronounce this right, Seiken Densetsu 3. It's a Secret of Mana game, supposedly a prequel to the other games, but it's the only one I've played. It is from 1995, and it is the prettiest pixel art game I think I've ever played. And it's also a lot of fun and really familiar to me as well. And I've been enjoying the heck out of it. I think I put about 8 hours into it over the evenings in the past week. But it's really good. I feel like it still holds up, and that might be because I've played it before. It's hard to say. But it's actually been pretty good on my phone. The emulator just has, on the sides of the screen, you've got, semi-transparent versions of the buttons you can press, and you can lay them out differently and stuff. I've managed to move the saves back and forth between my phone and my computer, because there was one bit where I was having trouble with my phone getting hot. It's not cold anymore, so, oh no, my thumb's a bit sweaty. The phone screen is suddenly thinking I always want to go left, kind of deal.
Yeah.
You have to wipe the screen, and then it happens again. So there was one bit where it was tough, and I'm like, I just want to play this on a computer. But no, that's been really cool. I'd forgotten how that game also doesn't take itself seriously at all. I think I'd remembered it as a bit more of a serious game. It's a typical kind of save the world scenario. But, okay, I'm going to take a step back. When you start the game, it asks you to pick 3 characters out of 6. And the character you choose to start with, there's a different opening chapter depending on each character. Kind of like a Dragon Age Origins kind of deal, I guess. And then who you picked first also is going to determine some stuff around the mid-game and the end game, and there's going to be a different final end boss depending on which one you picked. There's 3 potential overall storylines. Basically, there's sort of 3 sets of antagonists, and the one that succeeds past the other 2 matches up with the antagonist of the main character that you've picked. So I mentioned to Ken, I think you'll like this character, and I picked them as well. And I'd forgotten that their walking animation is them like stomping around everywhere, like really over the top, because they are a beast man, and it's just kind of like emphasizing their sort of childish strength, and it works real well, and just is not at all serious. It is a silly walk, but it's great. I love it. There's way more silly stuff in here than I remember, like getting shot between 2 cities out of a cannon. There's a turtle that you can swim around on that has goggles and flippers and a flag on its back. There's some weird stuff in this game, but it's great. I love it so much. I can't remember if I've mentioned it to you before, actually, because I know I've told you about a bunch of old games like that I think you should play. That's one of them. It's kind of like there's 3. There's that, there's Chrono Trigger, and there's Final Fantasy VI. They're all from like the same few years, all originally Super Nintendo games that I played when I was younger, and they're all really great.
Sweet. I'm glad that you've been enjoying that. Are you looking forward to the remake of Secret of Mana?
I haven't been following that at all. I know that there are other Secret of Mana games. I've tried playing, I think, the original one. I didn't get nearly as into it as I've gotten into this game. So I've played the original Secret of Mana, which this one is a prequel to, set several hundred years earlier, and like it's not based on history of other games that you need to know. But I never got as into that other Secret of Mana game. I think my brother had there was a Game Boy remake or something, which like it was neat, but again I never got super into it. Whereas this game I got really into, and I finished, and I think I went back and did a second playthrough with a second main character and got I can't remember if I finished it a second time or just got near the end. But I haven't gotten as into the other Secret of Mana games, and because of that I haven't been following whatever remake they're doing now, really. Because if they remade this game, it wouldn't look as good.
As far as I know, it's a remake of Secret of Mana 1. It's in 3D.
That sounds like a bad idea for a game.
It's got a cute art style, actually.
Yeah, but these I don't know. This is just me being a jerk. I love these games because they've got great pixel art. Don't put it in 3D.
Speaking of great pixel art, I saw a trailer today that I think you might be interested in.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, how big are you on like Mega Man style games?
I've never played a Mega Man game.
Okay. Either way,
I don't know.
Iconoclasts is the game that I'm referencing, and I've linked this to you.
And I don't just mean because it's a word.
I've linked it to you in the Discord server that we use.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
And that game looks like a it looks like a gorgeous kind of Mega Man style game. Lots of like fast 2D platforming and shooting, and some just flat out gorgeous pixel art and animation.
I'm just having a quick look at the trailer
figured
now.
you'd be kind of interested in that.
Oh, this looks well made. Oh, that is cute style.
There he goes. He's off to the races.
Yeah, sorry, I'm being quiet. It definitely looks like a new pixel art game. Like you can tell with the different pixel scaling of different things and the way the animation is super smooth.
Yeah, and I imagine just stylistically as well. Like you'd have
to an extent, but I think it's the movement that gives it away to me more.
Right.
It's the sort of thing you wouldn't see in an older game just because of more limitation stuff. Like you can see in some of these animations, they've got you can almost see the individual frames, whereas when they're moving around, there's less of that, I guess. So you can tell a bit if a pixel art game is new or not. This looks cool though. I'm into this.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I've pointed this out to you.
Yeah. So you just saw the trailer today?
Yeah, I saw the trailer for today because developer announced an official release date today.
When's that?
January 23rd, 2018.
Oh, wow, that's actually really close.
That's next month.
Yeah. That's
Hey, how fucked up is
Monster Hunter
that?
World. Well, Monster Hunter World is coming out next month, so it's not that bad.
Fair enough. Beta's out sometime this week, I think.
Yeah, my flatmate's been mentioning that to me as well, but the thing is, you need PlayStation Plus, and I'm not going to buy a subscription service early to play a free beta, because it's not free then. I'm going to get the game anyway.
I believe that you were going to get a trial for that. I thought that was the plan.
Oh, you did mention that, didn't you? Nah, I don't know. I mean, I still haven't got a specific plan on when I'm going to get a PS4, and if I'm going to be buying a bunch of Christmas gifts this month, then it might be that I do that next month, so it's not everything at once.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I don't know. I mean, I say that, but that might not be what happens. We'll see. I might decide I want to get it before I go away for the holiday.
I thought, yeah, like last we talked, I thought that was something you were floating.
Yeah, well,
a maybe.
When there was the Black Friday stuff, I was thinking maybe I'll do it on this, but I'm not organized enough to do something with like a day's notice. I think, one of the local shops was running a combo with a PS4 plus Dishonored, Doom, another Bethesda published game, Prey, and shoot, there was one more game that they were running with it. This just sounds like I'm going to be paying a bunch for some games that aren't Monster Hunter World.
I mean, you get them for free with your console, essentially.
No, you get them for what you pay for the bundle, and you also get a console.
Well, the bundle... The thing about bundles, which is kind of fucked up, is that bundles are actually just straight up dictated by the publisher, and they usually are the same cost as just the console. It's just like, hey, we're throwing these games.
Okay, no, that's cool then. I still wouldn't call them free games, because you have to pay a lot of money to get them, but it's good to be able to get extra stuff for the same amount.
Yeah, especially stuff like Prey. Like, that game is really good.
Yeah, the first hour or so that I played of it was really well done.
It gets better. It really does. Like
haven't you told me that I'd get scared in the later levels as well, though?
Yeah, there's definitely some spooky shit. I ran into some spooky shit.
It didn't strike me as the kind of horror-ish game that I wouldn't be able to manage, though, from the stuff I played early on. Like, we're not talking
it's not like graphic violence or anything.
Well, or like Amnesia type stuff, you know?
Yeah, you have a thing. You can fight back.
You have a thing.
You have a thing. It's usually a gun. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a Nerf crossbow.
A Nerf crossbow.
I'm not even joking. They have they have a crossbow that shoots foam darts, and you can use it to distract enemies, or like you can just kind of ping them in the head. It's kind of funny.
Of course you can.
But you can use them as little noisemakers and stuff like that. There's also a D&D group in Prey. Like,
how does that
work? Several of the staff were getting together to it's like a background story. Like, you can find their character sheets and stuff like that, and they were all like getting together to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. You were gonna run a session for us pretty soon, eh?
That's the hope.
I hope you can.
Yeah, I'm just finding some screenshots on my phone, because I've got a couple of neat ones. I was screenshotting some funny dialogue. I'm just going to see how I can get them off my phone while we do this. Because they're great. This is the game that I've been playing. They're cool. That's right. It was the reason why it's got a Japanese name. It was never released in the West, so it's like a fan.
You're playing like a fan translation, yeah.
Yeah, and there might be several. I'm not sure. The one that I'm playing doesn't seem like I haven't noticed it being different to the one I've played before at all. But small wording differences. Maybe I just wouldn't notice that anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, like when you're talking about fan translations, like I imagine there's varying degrees of that. Like, there would be straight fan translations which just try to, like, interpret the literal text as best as they can. And then there will also be and these will be less common because of the amount of labor involved, but
and
there will
knowledge
be
required.
Pardon?
And knowledge required, because I assume I know where you're going.
Yeah, full localization and just like taking the intent of the piece and rewriting it into natural English language, like what most big companies do.
Yeah, I mean, I get the impression it's pretty good. You get a feel for the characters by the way they talk.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the dialogue is never funny. Sometimes it's just funny because you can take it out of context and it's funny in a context-free way. I'm just going to put a couple of them in Discord for you because I like the dialogue on them. But oh, seriously, the art in this game is just, I love it so much. It's also one of the neat things about it, I think, and this was probably more a bigger deal when it came out, because like I said, this game is 22 years old. It has day and night cycles with pixel art. So the lighting changes from day to sunset to night to sunrise to day again.
That's
And because the base main character I mentioned, they can transform into a werewolf at night, so it matters for some things. You've got like items that can change between day and night. And the lighting all changes, and not just like suddenly, like it changes gradually, and the lighting stays consistent with pixel art. Even though they've done great things like the shadows. You don't just darken the color; you have to shift the hue and stuff. It's not like you can just rely on some lighting engine like in a 3D game to figure all that stuff out for you. Everything has to be hand-painted originally.
Yeah. I imagine that would be done through like the in-game timer?
As opposed to what?
As opposed to like, there was no system clock on the SNES.
I don't know if there was or not. I never had one. I never played it emulated, but it's definitely an in-game timer, yeah. Like, you can sleep at an inn and they'll say, do you want me to wake you at morning or night? And stuff like that.
Yeah. I will also say, the art style that I'm seeing for Seiken Densetsu 3... Seiken Densetsu.
I'll put the spelling in the Twitch chat so that people can look it up, but I'll read it out as well. It's easier to read out once it...
looks very much like Golden Sun, which was a Game Boy Advance RPG that I played.
I've played 3 Golden Sun games, which I think is all there are. I'm just going to read out the spelling real quick. Seiken Densetsu 3.
Okay.
But yeah, no, the Golden Sun games were great. They came several years after this, obviously, but so I haven't played them in ages, but I've played all 3. There's the first 2 ones, which were a set, and there's another one which came many years later, and annoyingly ended on a cliffhanger, because I don't think there's been a 4th game.
There has not been.
They're really good, though. I don't know if it involved any of the same art people or not, actually. But that'd be interesting to think about. Because that, like you said, that was Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And then the most recent one was DS.
Which was also not pixel art.
You're right. They had, they were all
like
3D, weren't
3D.
they? But they have some pixel art-like stuff in the backgrounds of the battles, maybe? I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played it.
Sweet. This week we do not have anything in our inbox. If you'd like to send us questions to the inbox, feel free to either hit us up in Twitch chat. We are live every Thursday, except next week. That'll come up in a minute or two here. And we are also available by email, pausecastshow@gmail.com. Feel free to send us your questions and we'll answer them on the show.
It's always cool to get questions from other people.
It super is. Do you have anything in particular you want to hit up next? Do we need to dive further into our Game of the Year discussions?
Discussions? I know what mine is, and it's that simple.
Okay, and what is that?
Horizon.
Okay,
Like, clearly.
easy. Why is it your game of the year?
Because nothing else came close.
Fair.
I mean, I don't
Have
know,
you
it was just great.
played Nier Automata?
No.
What are you doing? You should play that game.
Playing Seiken Densetsu 3 on my phone.
Oh, that's fair. You can do that also.
So is Nier Automata yours?
No, but it's a very
reckon?
good game.
Okay, I can believe that. Lots of games are very good.
Horizon, Horizon rate's kind of low for me, to be honest,
Oh.
right now. Not because, like, not because it's a bad game, but because, like, it hasn't grabbed me in the same way that a lot of other games have grabbed me this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of the stuff I've played this year, like, I count, and I know this stuff was released last year, but I do kind of count stuff that in my Game of the Year discussions, I count stuff I played over the course of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, even stuff that was released, like, years and years past, like, my personal Game of the Year may still very well be something that was released, like, I don't know, say 5 years ago, because it was the most standout thing for me in that year.
Are you thinking of a particular game at the moment?
Nothing super particular. Like Dishonored 2 comes to mind.
Okay.
Hitman comes to mind. Prey comes to mind.
Yeah.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I mean, I played a
Legend
lot of
Zelda
Dying
Breath
Light
of the
this year,
Wild.
and it did not come out this year.
Yeah, would you consider that Would you consider that your game of the year?
No, Horizon's my game of the year.
Yeah,
Clearly
okay,
and
fair enough.
easily.
You just know straight up that is going to be your thing, huh?
Like I'd say I've known for a while, and kind of doesn't mean nothing could come in and usurp it. Just nothing has.
Yeah.
No, that game really grabbed me, and the themes and a bunch of the characters in there just clicked with me real well.
Yeah, I'm still really early in, like, it's clear that game is well produced and well written and stuff, but it just hasn't grabbed me. And even the same way, like, Assassin's Creed Origins really grabbed me when I started playing that game, and I just wanted to keep going and going. And Horizon's like, I feel like I fall off of it way easier than I fall off of a lot of these other games.
Okay.
And I don't know why exactly that is. I just know that, like, Horizon hasn't quite clicked for me on the level that it seems to have for a lot of other people.
Okay. Yeah, I think that sort of driving to explore its world and the past of its world kept me coming back to it, even when the story wasn't right at that moment. Because they've got a bunch of different cultures they've made for that world that are all really well defined and distinct, as well as a lot of history to uncover through the story and through other just world stuff, like the collectibles and things. So that was all easier to just, even if I wasn't going to play a story mission, because there were some nights where I was like, I shouldn't play a story mission because I don't have the right state of mind to really commit to it. I could still come back and just go kill some robot dinosaurs, or like wander around the biggest city in the game, or like go and do one of the cauldron sort of challenge areas.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been, like, a lot of great games that have released this year. I'm really excited to see where Game of the Year discussions kind of take us. I'm curious to see how PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is going to fare, because that's pretty high up on my Game of the Year, but also it's early access, which has got a few of the major publications questioning, like, hey, so do we count this because it's early access, or do we just have to say, yep, PlayerUnknown's didn't hit 1.0, so it's not out this year?
I mean,
and we'd have to think about, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for next year if it doesn't come out in December.
people are clearly treating it as though it's out, though, right?
Yeah, that is the thing. Like, Polygon, their policy seems to be it's included in the discussions because PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is in effect out and you can play it.
And
Where
it's a big deal, and people playing it, they're not all like doing it with the mindset of I'm testing this game that hasn't yet been released. Hardly anyone will be doing that.
I certainly have gotten past that point. Like, I kind of joke about it being like 1.0 ready and esports ready when it when we run into glitches and issues and stuff like that. But like, it's become the most played game out of everything in my Steam library this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Left 4 Dead 2 has sat at the top of that listing for years at this point. And PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has not just like dethroned it, it's completely upstaged it by 50 hours. Like, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is up to 200 hours on my Steam right now.
That's pretty
and
good.
Left 4 Dead 2 is at 151.
Have I cracked 200 hours? Oh, yeah, no, I have. Sorry.
The only other game that I've cracked that much time in is Overwatch. And, like, that says something about those games, and it also says something about, like, hey, maybe it turns out when you have online games, turns out you really, really fucking like those. I used to think that I just kind of hated those games inherently.
Yeah?
But
it surprises me, given how much you seem to enjoy them now. That sort of competitive match-based online game. Like, you seem to really enjoy those when you run into them.
I don't know if I've told this specifically on the show, but I think I have. But I like, back in Canada, I had shitty internet and it was bad. And like,
now that you live on an island in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but I don't have shitty internet anymore. Like, I can still connect to enough people to play video games with. Mm-hmm. Where in Canada, when I was still living there, I just had really, really shitty internet. And so I couldn't really play anything because I had shitty internet. That was just kind of how that was. It meant I couldn't really connect with my friends reliably or do any, like, big multiplayer games on the basis that my connection was just too shitty.
Especially since most of them are sort of reflex-based. You know, if it's MMO stuff where timing isn't super important, then that's kind of a different deal if your internet connection isn't perfect. But if we're talking like shooters and stuff, then it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you didn't have a stable connection, like, it made it really, really hard to play stuff like Counter-Strike.
Mm.
Back when I was trying to play that. I regret those 50-odd hours. Counter-Strike is not a good game.
I tried playing it like once. It's not for me.
No, it's...
I just wanted to like see what the big deal was, and I think it was free at the time, or it might be free always.
It's stressful in a way I don't like, I think, is my beef with Counter-Strike. PlayerUnknown's is stressful, but it's like a different kind of stress. It's a little bit less controlled by, like, I guess, a pro scene. Like, CSGO has a lot of people who have dumped hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game, and so they know all the, like, trappings of each and every map, and so the accessibility of that game is just a nightmare because it doesn't have real rank-based matchmaking. It just kind of throws you in. It's like, good luck! So I just constantly got thrown into games with experts anyway. Yeah. Where PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I know I'm very definitively not being thrown into games with experts. Mm-hmm. And if there is an expert among them, like, they still have a chance of being bested by the 100 other people.
It's interesting you talking about this is reminding me of over the past couple of years when I've really come to realize, hey, I just don't like competitive games, especially online competitive games. It's been really freeing to kind of get that understanding that I don't have to like every popular game. And that sounds silly when I put it in words, but like it's not. I don't think everyone's starting position, or at least it wasn't for me. When, you know, there's super popular games like Overwatch and Counter-Strike and Team Fortress 2 and stuff, it kind of feels like, hey, if I play games, I should play these and like these maybe. But then realizing that, no, I get stressed and don't enjoy it has been really freeing that I don't have to worry about that anymore, I guess. This sounds like really obvious when I'm saying it. But it has felt freeing, which is really nice.
Sometimes it's also valuable to play things that, like, you don't necessarily like, to kind of just reaffirm why you may not necessarily like that thing. Or sometimes there is, like, things in a game which you may not like that other developers could learn from, or that's a really fascinating piece of design. Metal Gear Solid 5 has like a lot of examples of really, really fascinating design. And I would recommend that people play that game, but play it for the design, not for a lot of the other elements of that game.
I'm still sour that I played 60 hours of that game, and then it just came at me with Part 2 begins now. I'm not going back.
Don't worry. Like I think I've had this discussion with you before. You didn't miss much. That second act is unfinished. I wish that was a joke, but like Konami, being evil, cut off the development of that because they were like, it's not going to make us enough money. Fuck you. Just scrap it. You have to push this out now.
Oh, I love what capitalism does to the world.
Capitalism. Yeah, maybe we would have had a complete Metal Gear Solid 5 if it weren't for capitalism. Damn you, capitalism.
Just the way that idea, will this game make money or not, can affect the production of good games is just so frustrating.
I mean, like, we've seen it come up as a topic of discussion over and over in this loot box thing that's come up in recent months with, like, Shadow of War and Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been, like, the big kind of firestorm. And games before it, like, Overwatch and stuff as well, like, there's discussion about, like, Overwatch as kind of a predatory game because it locks those, like, it locks kind of some of its best skins away in events that only last for a few weeks, and there's virtually no way to get all of the items in there because the amount of currency in-game required for that exceeds, like, upwards of 15,000 when, like, you're earning maybe 5 to 10 from a loot box.
Okay. And how long does it take to earn that much?
Usually about 5 matches or so. 4 or 5 matches.
2 or 3 hours, is it?
About a half an hour to... Oh, okay. Like, it's still really, really slow progression. Half an hour to 45 minutes or so. And that's assuming all goes well. Otherwise, you could be looking at 45 minutes, an hour.
Actually, speaking of those games and Game of the Year stuff, I think Shadow of War's been kind of my letdown of the year. Because I was looking forward to that game. And although I did have fun with it for a bit, the good stuff was more of the same. But they also added a whole bunch of more stuff that was just unnecessary, and I don't think it really added anything to the game. Like, all that loot box stuff, I just started ignoring almost immediately. But then I sort of realised the game is trying to funnel you into it without really any reason to do it. I don't know. I ended up losing it just before finishing it, which didn't happen with the first game, I think.
Did you reach that last act?
No, I didn't even. I mean, maybe I'll go back just to mess around in that game and get to that point. I don't know.
Yeah, so if you thought it was bad where you were at, then the last act is gonna, like, really ramp that up.
No, from what I've heard of that, it doesn't sound like it's awful. Like, in terms of the stuff that I didn't like in it. But I don't know. I don't feel like it was enough of a sequel. I feel like it went in the wrong direction, and that now, after it's been a while since I bought it. Like, I think over a month since I played it, actually, looking at Steam. Now I can kind of see it as more of a letdown than just, it wasn't as good as I thought. It's just, it really wasn't as good as I'd hoped it would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a bummer.
I mean, like, it's not awful. I'll go around and mess around in it again, but it could have been more.
I don't know what my kind of biggest disappointment of the year is.
It's good. That's good.
Yeah, it probably is super good that I don't know what has disappointed me this year.
And I don't want to force you to have one because maybe nothing did. Maybe you enjoyed stuff and that would be good.
Yeah, I think that might very well be the case if I'm to be honest.
I know what your biggest letdown of the year might be.
Oh, what would that be?
It was when a Persona game swept the rug out from under you.
Sorry?
when a Persona game swept the rug out from under you and was crap for a bit.
Oh yeah, no, that yeah. Actually, I would like to retract my previous statement. That is 100% my biggest letdown of the year.
Yeah.
Persona 4 Golden. For shame. Persona 4 shame. That's what that game is. I hear Persona 5 is better. I really hope it is.
Isn't it? Haven't you played that? Isn't it the one you played earlier?
Nope, that was 4. I've been kind of wanting a Japanese RPG that's very text heavy, anime style to sink my teeth into. So maybe Persona 5 might be my thing.
I'm confused because isn't that the one that came out this year?
It is the one that came out this year. I was playing Persona 4 on the Vita.
Have you not played Persona 5?
Nope.
I thought you'd played Persona 5. Are you just pulling my leg?
I've played about an hour of that game.
This is the one that Ash got really into, right?
Yep.
I thought you'd played
Persona
it and
5
finished
is the one that Ash got really into. I got into Persona 4 because I was like, well, I've wanted to play this game for a grip, so may as well kind of.
That?
I don't know.
Okay, I've seen the end of that game because my flatmate played through the whole thing.
Persona 5?
Well, that's the new one, right?
Yeah, the one on PS4. And
sorry, the only reason I keep asking this is because I felt so sure that you played the whole thing.
Nope, I have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got that idea then.
Yeah, I don't know either. I also want to... I'm going to completely sidetrack myself. Something, I guess, it's unexpected this year.
Oh, yeah?
That I've really enjoyed playing. The Evil Within.
You didn't expect to enjoy it?
No, I heard it was kind of like schlocky and kind of bad, and I'm coming through it kind of pleasantly surprised. I've also found like some interesting stuff in there that like there was a lot of discussion around when The Evil Within 2 was announced that like they were retconning certain things and like they'd never that people had never seen mention of like Sebastian's daughter, who is like a central plot point in The Evil Within 2. I found a bunch of journals and stuff that like builds out that lore and sets the scene for the opening scene of The Evil Within 2. Mm-hmm. So, like, I've actually found all that stuff. I know that this stuff was talked about, which is also cool. It means that, like, there is enough of a tie to make it, like, really work as a sequel, rather than just being kind of a standalone thing, I guess. I hear that game's good. I'm looking forward to giving it a shot.
Nice. I'm trying to think if I've got a similar sort of this game surprised me thing, but I can't think of anything.
What about Dead Cells?
I expected to enjoy that. The reason I've been staying away is only that it's early access, and I try not to buy early access games.
Right.
Like, it had always appealed to me since I first saw it, and it's been pretty much what I expected. I didn't expect that I'd be okay with that whole fast-paced, don't explore every avenue thing. I thought I'd have more trouble with that, but that's been kind of the only surprise. And that's a good thing, because I expected it to be good, and it was good. Is good. But I don't know if I'd say the whole thing's been a surprise at all. It looks like how they show it off, which is good.
Alright. Do you have anything else, or shall we conclude?
Do I have anything else? I could gush more about how much fun it is playing a game I used to play when I was a kid. But I do that like every episode. I'm just like reliving my childhood of games.
That's not bad, though.
No, it's great. Like I said, I'm planning on playing back through Chrono Trigger on my DS over the summer, which will be a lot of fun. And I'll probably get like Final Fantasy VI on my phone now that I know I can get those games on my phone. Actually, you know what's really cool about that? The files, the games, they're so tiny because they're so old. You can just have a ton of them on your phone. Like this game that I'm playing, it's like I've spent 8 hours in it and I haven't reached the second half. And the game is less than 3 megabytes.
Yeah,
Like, that's cool. It's like, 2 photos kind of deal.
I remember like having even Game Boy Advance stuff. Like the Game Boy Advance, you could put stuff that was up to 16 megabytes on a cartridge.
Wow, so big.
So big. You could have like substantially bigger stuff by that point. But even then, that's still like really small. Even like Nintendo 64, like full 3D games are like 8 megabytes. If I am remembering that correctly. They're
not exactly photorealistic, but...
No, they're not exactly photorealistic. And that's not a bad thing either.
No, definitely not.
Not being photorealistic increases your longevity.
Well, I think we've gotten to the point where, you get diminishing returns. Games can look really good now. Like, people can look pretty realistic, like, and recognizable as real actors and whatever. Obviously, it'll keep improving, but I think there are games now that will still hold up in terms of those graphics in 10 years. And maybe I'll be eating my words in 10 years, who knows, but I reckon. But you're right, like, the games that I'm playing, hey, it's pixel art, it's always going to be pixel art. It's going to hold up for that aspect. It's not trying to be something it can't quite reach, I guess. Whereas, yeah, if you're going for a photorealistic thing, but, your character's hands are mittens because you can't have 4 separate fingers and a thumb, it's just too complex, then things might look funny in the end. Or, like, their chin moves but their mouth doesn't open when they talk, that kind of thing. That sort of interstitial period where we'd started doing 3D trying to make it look realistic but just couldn't. They're fun to look back on, though.
Alright, I think that's going to do it for us this week on PauseCast. Thank you for listening. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, there's a few ways that you can do that. First, give us a rating or review on iTunes or your platform of choice, wherever you get your podcasts. Giving us a rating or review usually increases how visible we are and helps us out a bunch. A second way that you can help us out is by sharing the show on Twitter, sharing the show on Facebook, sharing the show with your neighbor, sharing the show with your dog. All that stuff. It all helps. It helps us just grow our audience, helps us reach more people.
How dare you mention dogs but not cats?
Pardon?
Believe you. How dare you mention dogs but not cats?
You can listen to it with your cat too.
Yes.
I can't exclude cats.
I even record it with my cat, so there.
Cats.
Okay,
you can do
we've
that.
filled our cat quota, that's cool.
Okay, excellent. You can also support the show financially if you're so inclined. Even $1 per month helps us out. A quick update for patrons as well. If you are planning to support the show through Patreon or already do, Patreon has just recently changed how it handles its processing fees. So now processing fees are going to be handled not by the creator. So, like, we don't pay a processing fee for our patrons anymore, but it is being added onto patron transactions. So it's increasing the cost of patronage by just a little bit. If you want more information, Patreon will have some stuff up, and I'll try and put a post up on our Patreon detailing the changes and what you can expect. So that's just a quick heads up for everyone who supports us there. If you'd like to support us on Patreon nonetheless, you can feel free to do so by going to bit.ly/pausecast or patreon.com/pausecastshow. Either of those links will take you to the same place. And you can throw us as little as $1 a month or as much as you would like. Either way, we really appreciate it.
Definitely.
Let's see. Mark, where are you online?
I'm on Twitter at Honest Universe, and I write a blog as well, though not about video games, at honestuniverse.com. What about you?
You can find me online at bird.school. You can also find me online at maximumgun.org, where I stream. And you can find me on the spin-off. I have a couple pieces up in their gaming section. I'll see if I can put together a neat link at the spinoff.bird.school sometime this week that links to my author page.
Nice.
All right. Thank you to Leon for the use of our theme song, Honey Milk Island. You can download Leon's music and listen to it for free on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/LEYAWN. Thank you so much for listening to our show this week. It means so much that you're able to join us. Until next week, we will see you around.
Bye.